everyone, welcome back to my Mexican kitchen here in Switzerland. The recipe for today is something sweet. The past recipes I've been making are savory and I thought we needed to do something sweet. So this time it's a jello and it's a Mazapan-chocolate mix. So it has both flavors not mixed together. It's the same jello with two flavors and it's super yummy. So let's start cooking. The ingredients you need to make your chocolate masapan jello are 1 can of condensed milk, 1 can of evaporated milk, 1 cup of cow milk, or any kind you prefer, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, 3 envelopes of powdered jello, natural flavored, and it's about 21 grams, half a cup of cold water, half a cup of hot water, 4 tablespoons of chocolate powder for milk or any beverages you like preparing. And last but not least, 4 masapan. Okay, so before we get started, let me just tell you guys how much I love making jello. Not that anyone probably cares, but I really enjoyed it. I studied in pastry school, so I love making desserts, but jello is something that I really enjoy. It's fun, you can do so many things and it's really easy. So no one cares, but I'm telling you. And before we start the recipe, there's another thing or things that I want to make more clear because I sometimes think that I don't make myself very easy to understand, so just in case. When I say chocolate powder for beverages, I mean like this, Nesquik, which many people know. It's just the powder you use to put in your milk or your water so it has a really nice chocolate flavor. In Mexico, there's this brand which is called Morelia, which is super yummy. I haven't seen it in other places, but Mexico does have it and it's really good. It has a mix of spices in there besides the chocolate. I don't know what they put, but it's super yummy. And Switzerland has Gelatin, which also is amazing. Love this stuff. So just use whatever you guys have at home. You don't have to go shopping. You don't need any special brand. Use whatever you like. Now the gelatin part. You need natural flavored powdered gelatin. Usually the box has 4 envelopes, which are in this case 7 grams each. So we're going to use 3, 21 grams in total. And there's tons of brands. This one is Duché, Knox makes them, the brand Jello makes them. So also whichever brand you guys prefer using, that's fine. And, oh, the masapan. We usually like making our masapans at home because it's really fun to use the cutter and cook and like cut them and make all these shapes. If you guys don't have masapan, you can see our video. We have a video how to make it. But in this case, I haven't made any masapan and my kids got a box of them just recently. So I'm kind of stealing them from them. Shh, don't tell them. They're going to be really pissed. But the thing here is that these are little. I didn't know that the brand made in different sizes, so I'm suggesting to use 4 masapans the normal size. Since they're little, I'm using 2 little ones to make 1 big one. This is just to your liking. You can use more masapan or less masapan. It just depends on how much you want your jello to taste. So you don't have to be super exact with that, don't worry. And now let's get started with the instructions for the jello. You're going to need 2 pots or anything you can use to heat up. And in one of those, you're going to put the 3 milks, the condensed, the evaporated, and I'm using cow milk. I'm using lactose-free light one because I'm lactose intolerant. Another thing you guys probably don't care about. But my point is, you can use whichever milk you have at home. It can be almond, it can be soy. Whichever one you like is fine, you can use that. So we put our 3 milks and our vanilla in there. Be sure to stir because the condensed milk is very heavy, so it just sinks to the bottom. And since you're going to heat this up, if you don't stir, it's going to stick and burn and then your recipe is messed up. You're not going to boil it, you're just going to heat it so that the ingredients kind of mix well. This, I guess, kind of melts. Since it's so thick, I get the feeling that it just melts into all the other stuff. And once it's warm, you can turn it off. Did I tell you guys about hydrating the jello? I think not. While we're doing the milk part, you can be hydrating your jello. So here's what you do. You're going to pour your jello into half a cup of cold water. Once it's solid, because that's what it does when it hydrates, you're going to add the really hot water, boiling water. You stir it and it melts automatically. It's super easy to hydrate jello. Then you're going to add the melted jello into the milks, and you're just gonna wait there, and then I'll tell you the next steps of the recipe. Okay, so we are done with the first step. As you saw, I already separated the milk. I just eyeballed it. It's nothing exact. No need to be exact here either. The next step is we're going to put our chocolate powder in one and our crushed mazapans. You have to crush them in the other. Mix well. Since the milk is hottish, warmish, it'll melt in there perfectly. It'll blend perfectly. The next step is now letting it cool. You can't pour it into whichever mold you're going to be using super hot. It has to be more room temperature. So you have to let it cool down. The jello mold, you have to, or whatever mold you're going to use, you have to put it in the freezer while you're making all this, so that the purpose is it helps that the jello doesn't stick so much to the sides of the mold. So whatever mold you're going to use, whether it's an actual jello mold, these are little ones, I'm using a big one. Whichever one you use, a Tupperware, anything you're going to use, just put it in the freezer while you're making the jello, and then you can take it out once it's room temperature to put it in the mold. What you're going to do is you pour your jello in the mold, you put it in the refrigerator, not the freezer, and you let it settle. It's going to get hard, and that's when you know that you can pour the second flavor of jello over it. Another thing you can do is you can alternate a bunch of different, like very, very thin layers of Mazapan-chocolate. It's going to take much longer, but it'll look very pretty. So that's up to you guys, how creative you want to get. So that would be the last step. Okay, so our jello is done. I started making the video quite late last night, so I thought I wasn't going to be able to manage to see it in a solid state, and I changed into pajamas, but before going into bed I was curious. I went to the refrigerator and it was done. So it took about 3.5 hours to 4 hours to be solid. Other than that, the whole unmolding, if you use a jello mold like the one I did, those are super practical. It's super easy to get them out of there. You just take the little lid on the bottom part of the mold, and that makes the suction like drop. It makes the jello drop. It loosens the whole, I don't know, but I think you understand me. It just makes it really easy. If you're using any other type of mold, an aluminum one or a glass one or any kind you're using, sometimes it won't unstick so fast. So what you have to do is you let it on your counter a couple of minutes. That'll make it start melting. And with a toothpick, you just go around the outline of your jello just to get it to unstick from the sides. And with your hand, just kind of give it a wiggle very softly. You don't want to break it. And then you can flip it over to your platter, your plate, wherever you're going to use. And decorating, which is the fun part. You can do tons of things. It's up to your imagination. You can crumble some masapan on top of it. You can make chocolate leaves. You can go get some berries. You can drizzle chocolate on it. There are really a lot of options. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you make the recipe, and don't forget to subscribe.